Good evening and welcome to our Fireside Chat this evening. My name is Yolanda Akinola. I'm the Events and Programs Lead at the Assembly Hub, and I'm also your very excited um, moderator this evening. I would like to give a brief background. The Fireside Chat is an event within the Creative Enterprise Support Program, Fashion Tech Abuja. And the CESP is an incubator which was launched last year by the British Council with the overall goal of improving the employability and increasing the impact of young fashion tech entrepreneurs within the fashion industry. So, with the Assembly Hub, my organization, Do It Now Now, and Ventures Platform on Delivery, the program started in November last year, and it began with a 2 week intensive for about 60 entrepreneurs. Um, those 60, after the intensive, were whittled down to 30, and those 30 joined the incubation program for 6 months. Because of COVID, it extended to 9 months, and most of the program had to be delivered online virtually. So we were very proud of that, especially. And after a very competitive semifinals between the 30 participants on the incubator, 10 were selected to pitch their businesses at an intense battle to win a grand prize of £2,000. And so the CSP Fashtech 5 emerged, each winning £2,000 and a bouquet of other lovely prizes that will see them to implementation of their businesses so far. So this evening, on behalf of the British Council, we're happy to share with our 5 winners and you all those watching with us, how two entrepreneurs in Nigeria and the UK are successfully operating secular fashion business models, such as rental and resale, and have done an outstanding job of scaling the sustainable brands. Now, before I welcome our guests, I'd like to let you know that you can leave questions for our speakers as the session progresses, and we'll take as many as we can after the interview. Please feel free to leave questions, to leave comments, and we'll get to them. And on that note, I'd like to introduce and welcome Victoria Prew, the co-founder and CEO of Her Collective. Hi, Victoria.
Hello, really excited to be here today. Thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you. And I'd like to also introduce Obis Oriagwu, popularly known as Obis Aura, the founder of Wardrobe Merchant. Welcome, Obis.
Hi, thank you, Yolanda.
Okay, great. So we'd like to dive right in to our questions this evening. The first question I have is, ladies, can you tell us a bit about your brand and the inspiration behind starting? Obis, if you can go first.
Okay, so the name of my brand is Wardrobe Merchant, and what we do is that we help individuals, male or female, predominantly female, to actually declutter their wardrobes and make money from it. Also, it cuts across store owners, so boutiques, online stores. As long as you do anything fashion that makes a woman or a man look beautiful, we'll help you resell it and then help you make money. The inspiration is this. I'm a fashionista. I love to look good. Like, if I see anything that looks good, I want to own it, includes whether it's my size or not. So what that means is I then have to have a very full wardrobe all the time, and most times I still can't see what to wear. So like 5 years ago, I remember sometime I was having to go through my wardrobe and I was like, people always come and take stuff from me. Like I don't even make them pay for renting it. I don't make them pay to have it because I'm not even going to wear it again. I probably will never wear it, or it's not even my size because I'm always fluctuating sizes. So I'm plus size tomorrow and semi plus size, stuff like that. So I was like, let me just start something. And I posted some of my items online, and then that was it. That was how I started Wardrobe Merchant.
Oh, thanks, Obis. So Victoria, can you tell us about Horror Collective and the inspiration behind starting?
Yeah, sure. So we run a platform based in London, but we have users all throughout the UK called Her. And it's built on a simple idea that there are certain pieces in our wardrobe that we don't actually want to own. There are pieces that we want to access, wear once, and then don't want to have that commitment to purchase. So previously, kind of pre-COVID, we were quite an events-driven business. So, for 10 weddings a year, for Christmas Day, for your birthday, for your engagement party, for a date night, we were providing outfits for all of them. And over lockdown, we pivoted our business. So we're much more every day. So people are now renting, a nice blouse, a jumper, a coat to walk in the park. And we've been very lucky to partner with Selfridges, who are the largest and leading department store in the UK. We have a physical pop-up in their Oxford Street branch. And we're also now starting to work with a lot of brands directly. So rather than spending, say, £200 or £300 on a dress, people are renting them for about 15% to 20% of the retail price for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and then returning it back to us and then renting something else.
Oh, that sounds great. Thanks. So, can you tell us a bit about your business model? Some more about it, Victoria.
Yeah, of course. So we're a tech-led business. So we are as functional as Airbnb. So rather than listing a house on Airbnb, it's the same process, but you would list your item of clothing. So we work with brands directly, but we also allow women to monetize their own wardrobe. So for example, the dress I'm wearing today, I'm not sure if you can really see it, but this is a dress from a brand called Stein Goya, which rents really well online. I will buy it as an investment. We're trying to really get people to see their wardrobes as an investment. And then I only need to rent that dress out 4, 5, or 6 times to have made my money back. So I'm happy because I am making money from my items, but at the same time, we're offsetting purchases that people might be making for wear at once occasions. And our big mission is to cut out fast fashion and really slow down fashion and get people to be more conscious about what they're buying.
Right. And Obis, can you share a bit about your model?
Okay, so typically our model is you look in your wardrobe or you look in your fashion store, because if you look at fashion is quite very fast. Okay, so every year, if you look at store owners, they're releasing new seasons, and of course they can't keep up with the inventory and they need to decongest and then they refill. And so at the end of the day, we're like at the bottom of the supply chain. So we get to retail it to those that couldn't afford full price. So when you then come to us, we take a commission, but we help you sell it to the millennials that they don't have the opportunity to either travel out. They're married, but they're living on very small budgets, but they still want to look good without breaking the bank, right? So we help you sell to these people because we have a huge audience that loves bargains, and then we take a commission for selling it. So that's typically what we do.
Oh, great. And how did you get funding for your business? Did you raise that by
Me?
yourself, family, friends? Yes.
Yeah, so for me, self-funding, first things first. I started 4 years ago. So self-funding, I started really little, to be sincere. I had so much in my wardrobe. So my wardrobe was able to fund the business. Then later on, I pumped in my own cash into the business. But last year, 2019, it was winning grants. So for example, the Tony Lumelu Foundation, I won $5,000 grant. So I was able to put it into different parts of the company to push it where we could have a walk-in store where people could shop, because our items get sold out really, really fast. Like you have to really be on a queue to buy stuff. So we thought we could have like a fashion store where people could work in and just shop, and declutter at the same time. And I needed funding to actually, scale up. So that's it.
Okay. So do you have a store now?
Oh yeah, we have a store now. It's been 1 year plus. Initially, we're strictly an online store, and nobody could have access to us. So it's either you're shopping online or you can't see it, you know. But now we have a working store, and soon we'll need to move out. We occupy about a 5-bedroom duplex now, but space is a problem because we warehouse these items. Remember, we have to warehouse them as they're selling more. It's coming, so warehousing is huge. But next year, I'm looking to access more funds because I want to go fully on tech and I want to reach the masses. That's huge for me, you know. So that's about it.
Thanks, Obis. And Victoria, how were you able to get funding?
So very similarly, when Her was just an idea, I spent a year building it, and my co-founder and I self-funded the business ourselves. So I actually moved back in with my parents to be able to afford to fund Her. And for a year, it was my own money that I put in, lots of my savings. And I think that if you do go on to arrange to raise external funds, it's a good top tip to have parted with your own money, because it shows you're an investor, your investors, that you're really motivated to make sure it's a success. And since then, we've now raised 2 rounds of external fundraising, and have a whole host of angel investors that we work with directly now, who are really involved. And it's been really important throughout 2 fundraisers, one through a global pandemic, to be able to show, you know, our investors that we're in the right market, and sustainable fashion and the circular economy are 2 booming markets. So we're in the right sector, even though, you know, people don't have anywhere to go right now. So I feel very fortunate, because I think there are lots of dead ends around fundraising, and then finding the right people that really believe in your long-term vision is the most important thing.
I like what you said about, you know, investors would be impressed with the fact that you have started with your own money. I mean, if you can't invest your own money into your business, then why should they?
Exactly. And it doesn't need to be a lot. You know, I'm sure people think, oh my gosh, I don't have thousands of pounds. It doesn't have to be a lot, but you need to show that you're dedicated, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. So can you give us some insight on how you were able to get your first 10 customers?
Yeah, sure. So we actually, before we launched Her formally, we launched a waiting list system. So actually, whilst we were busy still building the product and testing it on its early stages, we built a waiting list. I think we accumulated over 10,000 email addresses just from an idea and an Instagram page about what we were building. It worked really well for us. People like to feel like they're the first to do something new and exciting is coming. You know, anyone who can Google, you know, how waiting lists work in guerrilla marketing, it's an extremely effective tactic. And it just meant that we had a bit more time. And then in terms of getting our first couple of customers, we had those people really knocking at our door saying, what you're building is so cool, please can I be the first to access it? And they're the people that we fast tracked and got testing that service. It was only, you know, a couple of months later, when we were happy with how the tech worked and the platform worked, that we were obviously able to scale out and be able and make sure that everything worked before we let the kind of masses on. But I definitely think those kind of creating hype, anything you can do to create hype whilst you're building your product is very clever, because what you don't want is to build a product and then wait 6 months or a year for it to take off. You want to have that demand ready to go. So the moment your platform is ready, you can really start, you know, churning through some rentals or some sales.
So I believe that all that hype converts. Does it really convert?
For us, it was we had incredibly high conversion rates. I think the reason why we got high conversion rates is because we kept in constant contact with those people. So it wasn't they gave us our email address and we never heard from them again, or we never spoke to them again. We were in constant, probably bi-weekly, maybe monthly, you know, here's what we're building behind closed doors, here's what's coming, so that people were really engaged. I think you have to keep people engaged and keep them interested. Otherwise, like you say, no, everyone gets the email about, you know, the access or the launch, and no one converts. So definitely that you know, unique relationship with a customer who's engaged, you need to keep that going before you actually release.
Right. Okay. So for everyone listening, or all the business owners, I mean, it shows how much how important communication is really. For me, it just shows how much businesses need to put into like going the extra mile to start ahead and then keep that communication, keep the link, keep the lines open. So, Obis, can you share how you got your first 10 customers?
So unlike Victoria, I didn't have all that plan, right? I had a 9 to 5 job when I started this. I was into it for about 6 months. But when I started, I was just looking for extra money that I could add to what I was earning monthly. You see what I mean? So it wasn't like I had clarity of where the business was going to go, or if I wasn't going to do it for like 1 year. I just wanted to clear up stuff I had. All right. So I then started, and then I sold my stuff and I made money. I'm like, there's space, and I can use this money to buy something else for myself. Then I went to my husband. I'm like, you know, you love fashion like me, and you see these shoes and bats you're not wearing. I can turn it to cash for you. He's like, what? I'm like, oh, come and see how I sold all this stuff. He's like, what? Really? And then he gave me some of his stuff. So once I put it, I then just chatted some of my friends, you know, my family, and I was like, guys, if you have anything in your wardrobe, it must be in a high quality condition. Bring it to me. I will convert it to cash. And I'm so good with words. I'm good at presenting the value of something to somebody. I can tell you 10 ways to wear an item. I can tell you why you need to get this thing at this price, because it's never like that in the market. And so people used to bring stuff to me. And just like that, one person told another person, that told another person, that told another person. And it went from like 0 customers to like 100 in like 3 months. Like when I knew I had arrived was when people in Jand, and Jand is where Victoria is, that I'm in Nigeria, I can sending me stuff from Jand to sell for them 3 months into my business. I'm like, what? Eh? So you mean I can be here and people, you know? So like 6 months in, I started looking at my numbers. I'm like, wait, see my numbers, see what this salary is paying me. So if I just put the same amount of time into it, rather than shooting my pictures from like 11 p.m., carrying my newborn baby to like 2 a.m., waking up by 6 to do deliveries, guy, you know what? Let me put in that time. If I put in that time, I'll put in my numbers, I'll push in more quantity. And you know, when you do the numbers, it's a volume game and it's commission per, you know, girl, and here I am. So mine is different from Victoria's on, where she had a plan with her co-founder. You know, they did the whole email marketing, the wait list. No wait list here. Oh. That was how I started, you know. But so far I have grown, I have really grown. And it's over the period of the years I've existed that I started adopting things like, you know, building the structure of the company, how the model will work, the commission and how it's going to be, you know, how it's going to work, the contracts and email marketing and everything, basically. So I started building, you know, when you start building a house and you're not sure how it's going, and then you start building, other than how you know it's going to look, and then you take off. So that's how my, yeah.
Yeah, I think a couple of Nigerian businesses, actually, a lot of them are built that way. Um,
Yeah.
Now it's now that we have, you know, more structure being put into place before we
Yeah.
start.
Mhm.
Yeah, with
Mhm. Mhm.
incubators like ours and so many others all around the country.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
wanted to ask though, before I move on, so what platform did you start selling on, Obis? Did you
So
start
for
launching
me,
on?
Instagram. Like I started with Instagram. I still use Instagram for most of the part of running this company. It won't be like that 2021, but it started with uploading 10 items to 20 to 30 a day, 50, 100. Sometimes we do 120 items. And we do that like back to back every single day. So we now have people on Instagram that then look forward to us posting. And even when you don't start, they're like, start now, you are wasting time. Like, I can't wait, you know. And then we have people that have to, you know, create wallets for where they deposit money with us. And then for everything we upload, we just do deductions on their wallets. So that's how we've worked. But next year, like I mentioned earlier, we're going for the masses, you know. We want to create more revenue streams. So we'll maintain Instagram, but we'll find other ways to increase our sales channels.
Thanks, Obis. So, Victoria, I'd like to ask, what are some of the ways in which you market your brands or promote it?
So after we had that kind of initial user base, that was really, really helpful to kind of get us off our feet and get going. I completely would say the same as you. Instagram is still a massive funnel for us. We're very much an Instagram first brand. We put a lot of time and money and effort into how things look and feel on Instagram. It's really important for us that things feel elevated. So that's a huge win and opportunity for us. We're also very fortunate to have lots of influencers and celebrities who wear her and shout about the fact that they are renting their dress. So it's really seen as something that is elevated and a cool thing to be part of rather than a kind of hidden secret. So it's really important for me that renting was aspirational, not a kind of, back of your wardrobe, something that you're a bit embarrassed about. So that consumer mindset's been really important and really crucial to our success. And then I'd say press as well. We've been incredibly fortunate to have great PR from everyone from Forbes to Sky News to Bloomberg to Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, and it's just really helped us kind of broaden the message because I think there's a rule, and I forget how many times it is, but once someone comes across her 3 to 5 times, they're statistically more likely to feel some affiliation to that brand and then go on to purchase or to try rental for the first time. So just kind of hammering home that message, even now when obviously rentals aren't as high as they normally are in terms of revenues and numbers, because obviously in London we're in another lockdown. It's a great time to keep people engaged, and I think that's also a top tip about even if someone doesn't need your product right now, how can you keep them engaged? How can you keep talking to them about what they're after, and using this time to really think about what the customer and what the 2021 customer and the post-COVID customer wants, because I think it's going to be very, very different to what people wanted before. In the UK, we've seen a massive trend of people just wanting to own less stuff. I think everyone's spent so long in their house saying, why do I own all this rubbish that I've accumulated for years and years and years? I want to own less stuff. So we're really playing into that mindset about owning less being better for your mental health, and hope that her can be part of that kind of mindset shift and generation shift too.
Great. So it seems like you actually had to change the narrative around rental to like promote and market her.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's always changing, right? The consumer is always coming up with clever ideas about things we can be doing. And I think one of the biggest changes and our biggest challenge is trying to communicate to the customer that renting isn't just something for a high day and a holiday and a celebration. It's about changing up your everyday wardrobe, right? It's investing in the basics and buying secondhand the basics and the pieces you're going to love and wear forever. And then if you want a funky top or a funky dress or a bag that's limited edition and sold out everywhere, you can rent it on her. So that's a big pivot in our messaging.
Right. Thanks. So Obis, what are some of the ways you market and promote Wardrobe Merchant?
So I'm heavy on social media, and particularly Instagram. I show up every day, and Instagram is a platform where if you show up like every day, like the algorithm will work in your favor. So I do heavy Instagram marketing, and I don't even mean ads. I just mean showing up and connecting directly with my audience, like making them feel like I know them or like I show up for them to give them what they need. So sometimes we just ask them, what are you looking to shop this period? Oh, I'm a big feet girl. I need shoes and this. I'm a big size lady. I need this. Or I'm petite. I need these. Anybody have black blazers? So you then see store owners that are looking at this thing that have blazers, and they're changing their season. They then bring it to us to resell it for a bargain. So that's something else we do. And you get to see them tag their friends and tell their friends, to come follow us. So that's one. Referrals. I can tell you that the most part of this brand has grown on referrals. I don't do any form of heavy marketing. I can tell you I've never done a Facebook ad, to be sincere. And this brand is growing it's really growing. So referrals are really good. But then when you get referrals, is if you give a good customer experience. And I'm not talking customer, service. I mean experience from the beginning to the entire end of the of the shopping experience or selling experience with us. So referrals have always worked. And then the last thing is influencer. So or like Victoria was saying, like they have influencers that wear and make it look cool. In my own case, I'm the influencer and the face of my brand. I'm a bargain lover, and I make women know that there's nothing wrong with spending so less on an item. You know, it has nothing to do with the cost, but how you wear the item. Okay, so I make them understand that you don't have to splurge so much. You can wear it, you can buy it, and you know, spend so much little. So what you do with like 20,000 naira or £100, which could be one or two items, you could come to us and spend like and have like 10 items, and you take care of yourself, your husband, and your kids. So with me as the face of my brand, I wear my brand. I show that I can look so beautiful on a bargain that everybody is like, so why am I spending so much to look good when I can come to Wardrobe Merchant and get it for so much less? So I want to be part of this. Tell me when you have new arrivals. Tell me when I can open a wallet with you guys. Tell me when I can come with my friends. I want to book a time slot. Like, anybody got time to be spending so much money when I can spend it for less and get it from fashionista wardrobes? You see, the fashionistas want to keep changing their wardrobe like every time. They want to look, you know, but all the same, there's stuff they have and they don't have people to give it to that would appreciate it. So they rather sell it and make some money to buy new stuff. Okay, so I'm the influencer, there's referrals, and then there's showing up on social media every single day, whether we like it or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Obis.
Yeah.
So I'd like to ask how big your team is, Victoria.
So we have a core team of about 7 to 8 people, and then we have a number of shop assistants that support us in supporting our and running our pop-ups, which are normally running full-time rather than, obviously they're not running at the moment in lockdown. But I have a key team who have worked with us for a number of months and years building her. And then we're going to be hiring again in the new year. Obviously in the pandemic, we put hiring on hold for now, but we're going to be hiring again and really growing the team early next year.
No, great. And Obis, how large is your team?
Oh, so my team is a team of 12. So yeah, we're growing.
Okay. And so, like, what are some of the roles on your team? Can you share?
Okay, so we're 12 of us, and then there's heads of different teams. So everybody's broken into like departments. So from the shop floor, where people can come and have a lovely shopping experience, to where if people are coming to drop off items, somebody wants to inspect your item immediately. So people that do inspection. And then when we want to share stuff on social media, who handles social media, managing our customers, there's, you know, the customer experience departments. There's also photography, people that take pictures and ensure that it's aesthetically nice. Then we have people that upload on Instagram and of course attend to the people in the DM. Like I said, when we post an item, there's a queue of people, you know, and then we also have those in the logistics department that get to deliver these items every day. So the dispatch every day. And then of course, from a management point of view, we then have like the business manager, the chief operating officer, and then myself as a CEO. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Great. So, I'd like to ask Victoria, how much of a role does tech play in your business?
I'd say we're probably 70 to 75% tech in terms of how we build and how our platform runs. The reason we're able to scale is because people are able to list their items in under 60 seconds, and anyone and everyone across the UK can list. So we've got no geographical locations or kind of limits on scale for us, because we spent 3.5 years building a platform from line one of code to make sure it does exactly what we want it to do, which is obviously really, really important for a business which is as functional as Airbnb in terms of what we need. We're now doing, I think we've got about over 7,000 items listed available for rent now in the UK, and over 700 brands that you can rent. So we've now obviously got thousands and thousands of items. So it's much more, or it's becoming a bit more of a fashion company now. We have to think about things like merchandising and clever algorithms that rank products. But in terms of our main bread and butter, we are absolutely first and foremost a tech company, and it's the most crucial part of our business because it allows us to be able to have something custom and do something that no one else can do really, really quickly. And we spend a lot of time in-house building out our tech and obviously the things that go wrong with owning your own tech too.
Right. So how would you how's the process of listing like?
So it should take under a minute. I'll let anyone on this live test it out and let me know, and I can feed back to my team. But it's a fairly straightforward process. All we need is the brand name, the size of the item, and a few photos. It's really that straightforward. We also have a WhatsApp channel so that people can actually WhatsApp us photos or message us photos, and we can upload them for them to make that first thing really easy. But it's actually super, super easy to list your own items. We try and kind of hold the hand of the user to give them an idea of the pieces that rent best. So we have a few brands that rent best, and we don't accept any fast fashion brands, say, but it should be fairly straightforward to list your items on her, but you'll have to check out and let me know.
Okay. Oh, and another question is, from the fact that you have so many people sending in pictures, how do you manage the quality that comes in?
So the photography is really, really important for us. We take the time to Photoshop out the backgrounds of the images so they feel elevated and don't look. We do still get photos of people that have taken a photo on a kind of, on the floor, and it's all a bit lopsided. So we spend a lot of time trying to educate our user about the fact that better photos or photos of them wearing the items just convert better. So people actually take the time to show how items are styled and show the back and the front in a close-up photo, because if you're renting that prospective item, you want to know all the details and make sure that it is going to fit and that you are going to love it as much as the listing looks great. So we spend a lot of time making sure, and our in-house team actually verify all these listings as well, obviously, so that we can make sure that they're up to scratch and we can still offer quite a curated approach, because we don't just want a bit of a jumble sale for everything. We want it to feel a bit more curated from a customer point of view.
Okay, great. So I thought that was the last question. Do they list these items on your website or an app, or is there an app for that?
At the moment, it's a website, so you can use it from your mobile phone, but it's technically a web application. But you can still just as easily from your mobile phone, directly.
Okay, great, thanks. So, Obis, how much of a role does tech play in Wardrobe Merchant?
All right. So in our own case, like I mentioned, we don't do website yet, but I'm going to talk about how we're moving into that. But currently, like internally, we have like an ERP system that manages from the drop off when items come in to managing the inventory, because in our own case, we're managing the inventory, the physical inventory ourselves, and we must be able to account for it at time T as it moves from one department to another up until when it's dispatched, or if it doesn't sell, the seller can then pick it up. Okay, so that's one. And then the second thing we also do is we also are able to manage our sales internally to see how much sells, how much doesn't sell, what product moves, what product doesn't move, stuff like that. Now, because we use Instagram, okay, and the way I explain how my company started, there's only so much that a human capacity can upload daily, right? Now, we have so much that comes in, but how much of it can we push through the pipeline? So in 2021, we currently have a project where we'll be migrating to our own platform. So just like what she is doing, we're going to be having a platform where people can list by themselves. So if you bring it to us, you're bringing it to us because you want our audience directly to be able to have the advantage of shopping that item. But then you could be a seller by listing an item in less than maybe a minute, like she said. And so wherever you are, just do what you need to do. And there's a team that will quality check that item and it uploads automatically on the website. So that way we're able to pump so much volume and do the right marketing to get it to as many more people to come shop from the platform. All right. So that's where we'll be moving to. That's how much tech plays in my company.
Right. Thanks. So you mentioned something that sort of tickled my brain. You said you sometimes return items to sellers. So if they don't take, you return sometimes?
Oh, so when I say returns to the seller, so if somebody brings, let's say, 500 items to me, if I inspect those items, that 500 items look good to you, that don't mean that my audience is going to buy the 500 items. There are different metrics we use to check. So if you then bring 500 items, we probably could accept 350 items. And then we go ahead and upload this 350 items. And at the end of the transaction, when we've uploaded everything and it has gone through the contract and the timelines, at the end of the sales period, let's say 80% of it sells. So maybe we're looking at roughly 320 items sold. The remaining 30, somebody should come pick it up, and that's the seller. So they would then request that they're coming to pick up their items, we'll pack up their inventory for them, then they come take it. Sometimes the sellers want us to reprocess it again as another transaction. They feel that probably it will appeal to another audience at a different time, okay? So we'll then take it through another cycle again, okay? So yeah, that happens.
Okay. Victoria, I wanted to ask, so do the owners of the outfits, after listing them, do they hold on to them, or do you take them and hold them until it's available, until someone, requests?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the answer is no. So we actually don't take the items ourselves because we can't facilitate, the items going, but runs it back and forward, a bit like Airbnb. Airbnb don't own properties, they don't manage properties, they provide the tech platform that connects, lenders and renters. We're exactly the same. So the vast majority of our business is done where we take a hands-off approach and make sure that things are done and our community guidelines are adhered to. But we can scale because obviously we don't have a kind of resource and logistics intensive model. Having said that, we do offer a concierge service. So for the people that are time poor or celebrities who rent their wardrobes through her, or people that have just got great wardrobes, but aren't that familiar with the kind of hustle that goes into renting out their own pieces, we offer a concierge service where we can do all of that end-to-end rental process for them. So it depends really what the customer wants. We offer both.
Thanks, Victoria. So to everyone watching, we have just one more question. So please, if you have any questions for Obis or for Victoria, please leave them just type them in the comments so they can answer them. Thanks. And the last question, Obis, what does the future of fashion look like to you?
Well, for me, I think the secondhand clothing will be embraced because look at COVID-19. Like everybody now understands, like this life. If I have £100, me self, I will manage this money. If I have 20,000 naira, I'm going to manage this money. So it feels like I'm going to spend less just to look good. So now people then understand that I feel like secondhand clothing then makes people see that why splurge more when I can spend less and still look good, because at the end of the day, it's not the cost that matters. It's how I put myself together that really matters. I think that's where fashion is going to in the future, like that whole sustainable fashion thing. Because nobody's going to come ask me when I wear stuff like, did you buy from somebody's wardrobe? Nobody's going to ask you that. And so many people are going to be buying daily and it doesn't fit them. They bought online, but it's not their size and they don't know what to do with it. Their husbands gifted them perfumes, they smelt it and they don't like the fragrance, but somebody else will be willing to pay for that thing at a much lower price. So I think it's going to be like a trade by barter kind of thing, but not trade by barter, but I can take stuff from your wardrobe for little less and you can buy from mine for little less, okay? Without having to see that thing of, is it cool or it's not cool for me to buy from somebody's wardrobe, whether she's worn it before or not, yeah? That's what I say.
Okay, great. Victoria, what do you see the future of fashion?
I'd probably echo those thoughts for sure. I think the key to sustainable fashion is rental and resell, and they both sit really nicely as an alternative to buying. So I think in terms of the future of fashion, we're going to see the consumer and the customer, investing in the pieces that they're wearing every day, the white t-shirts, the jeans, the jumpers that they're getting 30 plus wears out of. And you should really be able to get anything else secondhand or rented. I think there's a percentage in your wardrobe that is available for rent and that you want to rent, and then there's also that percentage that you want to resell or to own secondhand. Secondhand is absolutely booming in the UK market. We've seen Depop absolutely explode. and also on much, it's not just designer in the UK, it's on those lower level items as well. So I think that there's space in the market for everyone. There's space in the market for resale on luxury, but also fast fashion, and for rental too. So I think it's an exciting time to be a circular model when there's much more demand from a customer for a circular model and for a more affordable model too.
Yeah, I definitely think circular fashion is the future. There's a question here from Hans Smithen. Hans Smithen is actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to be a bit partial here. That's Vivian Obwagu. She's a winner on our incubator. So her question is, Obis, what do you do with the clothes people don't take back or buy? That's abandoned clothes.
All right. So in our contract, it states that you should pick up within a certain period of time, and we'll try to follow up with the sellers. So most times, in that case, we already make it clear we give it to charity. So charity is people that can't afford to wear those kind of clothes or want to look good but don't have money. And I also do it publicly on my page. So I just say, you guys, you want to look good, you don't have money, come take it. So I'm always constantly giving to charity. And then sometimes if there's resale value in it and the seller has said and stated categorically that I don't want the items, I've moved out of the country, I'm done with that transaction, I made so much money, I don't need anything. We then open it up for people that want to spend way less. So like thrift stores that spend so less on clothes, then come and buy them at little or nothing so they can put more money and then they resell themselves. Yes, that's what we do.
Oh, great. Vivian, I hope that answers your question. So Ope has a comment. She says, thanks, Obis. Showing up every day is important on IG. Sometimes I post on Insta story, even when I don't want to do a regular post.
I know,
So
right?
showing up even when you don't want to.
I know. I know.
Okay, so Peter Kali says, do second-hand imports from Europe, etc., have negative effects on Nigeria, or Nigerian-based designers and maker markets, or Nigerian-based second-hand markets?
Okay, so I guess that question is for me.
Yes.
So I can't say whether there's an effect on Nigeria-based designers. I feel like there's a niche and there's a target market for any kind of business. So if there's secondhand imports from Europe, some people want to buy stuff like that. Some people also want to buy stuff from Nigerian designers as well. But also, I want to let you know that secondhand imports come to us as well. So we have women that import these things in huge quantity, and when they come, they send it to us. There are people that in Canada, America, they probably migrated there, they send these things to us. Okay, then we also have fashion stores, Nigerian brands that actually make clothing and send it to us because we don't have a target market that we buy, but my audience can afford that price. So I can't say anything is given up for the other one, because if you come to my page, if something is listed as a Nigerian brand, there's some people that won't buy it. But if something has ASOS, it has Michael Kors, it has Coach, it has LPJ, somebody is going to buy it. Just where I'm coming from. So everything there's a niche and there's a target market. So yeah.
Right. I see. So I totally oh, sorry, there's a question from, actually a comment. Silly Anthony, another of our founders on the incubator, says, Victoria, I love what you said about follow-up. We will try to do more on that at Antoine Collections. So yeah, I actually love that comment as well, that Victoria made. And there's a question from Maria. Maria says, how do you manage direct competition where a number of people are starting to try out this same model? Victoria, can you answer that?
Yeah, of course. So I think no matter what industry you're in or what product you have, there's always competition. Competition is good. You want competition. If there's no competition, it means you're in a market that people don't want to be in. And that was a great piece of advice that someone gave me early. I think that we were very fortunate that we had first mover advantage in the UK market. So we were the first.
Sorry, Victoria, I think we lost you for a sec.
Oh, sorry, was I muted?
Muted and then, yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Sorry. But what I was saying, in terms of competition, it's really clear how you're going to stand out from your competitors. We had first mover advantage in the UK, which means that no one was doing what we were doing. And those people are still really loyal to her today. And I think it's like there's always going to be competition. There's always going to be people trying to do the same or similar things to you. And the key is to have your niche, know what you're good at, and really, really focus on that. We learn a lot from our customers about how to position her, what brands they like. And I think actually sometimes, even if you're the CEO of a company or a founder of a company, you don't always want to know what you don't always know what your customer wants, and your customer can sometimes give you ideas that you've never even thought of, even though you might think that you know everything and that you've got the best ideas. So I think staying close to your customer is the most important thing, and then really having your USP about what makes you different, and they're probably the two most important things when you're thinking about how you can scale a business or really differentiate yourself in the market.
Right.
I think I'd like to add to that. I think something else, what Victoria said is very key, because when I started, like first mover advantage as well, everybody's like, what's declutter? Like today, like, what's declutter? Make money from my wardrobe. Oh my God, that's a good idea. And then you look here, you look there, everybody's doing it. But like there's something, this first mover advantage is when you're very clear about where you want to be and what your vision is, just focus on it. But in addition to what Victoria said, I would add, do a SWOT analysis. I don't know if you've heard of SWOT, do your strengths, your weakness, the opportunity in the market, and then the threats. So I would say focus on your strengths and of course the opportunity. If you identify that, you need to have a tunnel vision as a business owner, because if you're going to be focused on what your competitors are doing, you would have less time to water your own grass. You have to have your vision. What's my vision? Who do I need to be part of this vision to take me to the next level? And when I get to the next level, what's the next level and what's the next level? Because when everybody's looking, when you're looking at other people, you're dependent on what they have to do for you to get to the next level. And that's not what you want to do. You want to sleep and wake up and know, this is what I'm going to do. I don't care what this person is doing today. This is what I need to achieve. Okay, and if these are my strengths, I'm going to use it to my advantage. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to have that very close connection with my sellers, my customers. I mean, I'm talking in the regard of like in my own nature of business. You have to make sure you own that relationship, that know, like, and trust factor has to be there. But you can't keep looking at competition. If you look at competition, girl, your grass ain't growing at all. So just do your SWOT analysis, focus on your strengths, and of course the opportunities. All right.
Thanks, Obis. One thing does come to mind though in terms of competition, and is that these days and more recently, you can easily work with your competition. So sometimes what you don't have. Exactly. What you don't have, you could, if you have a great working relationship with your competition, you could direct your customers there, and what they don't have, they could direct your customers, their customers to you as well. So if you have similar audiences, I think that can work as well.
So collaboration is the new competition, and I will throw more light on what you're saying, because we have people, similar businesses that, of course, still upcoming. When people give them stuff to declutter and sell, they don't have the audience that can buy it or turn it to cash as quickly as possible. They then bring it to us, we upload it, we sell, and then we pay them, and then they remit it to whoever sold through them, okay? And then when we do pop-up shops or any event, you see people in our own industry try to buy from us. So like those abandoned stuff she was talking about and stuff like that, they come buy and then they upload it, put a markup price. So there's that whole collaboration, it works. But when you start as a business owner, was what I was trying to let her know. If you start as a business and you say, oh, somebody has just started my kind of business, how am I going to cope? You're not spending so much time money on that, thinking that they're going to take your audience. No, somebody is going to know, like, and love your brand, what your brand is, and what your vision or your mission is, and how you go about it. What you need to know is, for every time there's a mistake, because mistakes will happen in your business, for every time there's an issue, just learn from it, correct it, and build to the next level. Do you understand? It's a continuous learning process. Do you understand? There's no perfection. There's no perfection.
Thanks, Obis. So there's a question from Joanna. That's Pepper. And she says, I missed the beginning of the session. I was curious to know how her differentiates itself from other rental models, such as Depop and Rent the Runway.
Yeah, sure. So Rent the Runway are the big player. Depop is just resale. They don't actually do rental yet. Rent the Runway are the big player in the US market. They're $1 billion company. We have one big difference to them. So they buy stock and then rent it out to the consumer. So they have to spend a lot of money buying the latest currencies and collections from lots of brands and then renting it out in subscription. Whereas we are first and foremost a tech business, and we actually allow people to rent their own wardrobe. So we don't have to buy those big wholesale orders hoping that it's going to rent. We can be a bit smarter about the data we're sat on, the brands we want to work with, without obviously having to buy and commit huge money up front. So we're much more scalable in terms of the pieces that we can have offering. It's a completely different model to a Rent the Runway, but we're more of a tech first business, I'd say. And yeah, different in that way is probably number one. Yeah. And I've seen a question on what HER stands for too. So HER, my co-founder is actually South African, and I spent a lot of time out in South Africa as a child growing up. And in Afrikaans, HUR means to rent. So we just played around with the words, but that's where it's kind of derived from. So it has a bit of meaning, and it's obviously a play on the word HER, HER as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That's lovely. That's lovely. So it reminds me you're talking about your business model and how it's different from others. The comment you made and that I saw online that, HER is the Airbnb of fashion. I think I agree. Totally. So Princess says, please, are the second use clothes factory rejects or worn clothes?
So that's me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be me, right? I'm guessing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
for no, so the answer to that is no. If you bring a factory reject, we're gonna reject it too, right? If somebody is not going to buy that item and do a leap in her heart, we ain't taking it. Simple. That's it. All right. So it's not reject, it's not honor that. It's just trying to make the next person look good on a bargain, but she can't afford full price. There's somebody else that has a beautiful, like let's talk about my cute bag, right? So this bag is a Topshop bag for £30. And then if I was going to sell it, I'll sell it for like 5,000 naira. And 5,000 naira is about how much? Less than £10. You see what I mean? So that's a huge bargain. Okay. So does that mean this is a reject or whatever? No, it's not. However, I have used it. Okay. And it's in great condition. It's secondhand. But if I rock it, you're not going to know it's secondhand, right? So it's about value. If there's value in it, we're taking it. But if it's a reject, it's in terrible condition, but because it's a shoe or bag or clothes, we're going to take it. No, we're not. Because who wants to spend money on something that won't make them happy or doesn't have value or won't play a role in their wardrobe over a period of time, right? Nobody wants to do that. So we try to put smiles on people's faces for very little money rather than make them cry that they spend their little money and it's something they won't enjoy. Yeah.
Right. And Obis, another question for you. What are the commissions for customers who sell items to wardrobe rentals? What's the business model?
So the commissions for customers, there's no commission for customers, but there's commission for sellers. So, but there's no commission for sellers, actually, it's commission to wardrobe merchants. So we take 30% of anything we sell. So if it's 5,000 naira, we take it 500 naira.
Okay, so you take the commission and you give them the rest.
We give the seller the rest of the money. Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. Great. I think there's a question that we missed earlier, but I will speak to this comment from Maria. Awesome responses from you both on the competition question. Thank you. So Anthony asks for both of you, Victoria and Obis, how were you able to assemble and manage your team when you started initially? Did you start out paying them? Victoria, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, the answer is yes. I did because that happened at a time where we closed our first external fundraising round. So we had the money, and when you raise money externally, some of that is obviously going towards teams. So we now have, we've built a team, most of who are the heads of all of the teams, as you kind of said before, who have been working for 1 to 2 years. So since HER was in its infancy for us. because I had a co-founder for the first year, and we both worked kind of without paying ourselves a salary, obviously, because we were investing in the company, and we were able to do a kind of vast majority of the work rather than having to outsource the tech. So between me and my co-founder, we had a lot of the skills of getting something up and running, an MVP. So like a product that worked. It didn't look glamorous, but it actually did functionally work. So we were able to kind of bootstrap it as long as we possibly could do, before obviously we then needed to raise money and actually build a team and invest in things like operations and packaging and tech and all the other bits, customer service that goes into running a business every day.
Right. Thanks. And Obis?
I was going to ask, do people work for free? I think people work for free. Like, nobody works for free, but for me, I paid, okay? But the thing is, the resource you're getting, how much are you going to pay is where the difference is, okay? So I started really little. So it's a volume thing. When you're pushing so much numbers, if you're not much on tech, you're going to have to hire so much resources. But for me, I started little. So I was a specialist in different departments. And then I had just one person and then two. You know, when I begin to see the areas where I want to just outsource a bit, where I don't think I need to focus on strategically, I then hire, and I hire really grassroots. So is either you're doing like intern, fresh graduates, or NYSC. And as the company started growing, I started looking for more expertise. So the person has experience in this area, the person has, because then I've gotten to a point where I need to make my company have that expertise so that I can serve better my customers and my sellers. Okay. So, but of course I started really little, and then you go, because you can afford to pay, you know, really high in the beginning. Yeah.
Right. So I think as a follow-up to that question, I would say, Victoria and Obis, did you have to sort of sell your vision to maybe like the first few people you had on your team? You know, Victoria, you said the management team. Did you have to sell your vision to them as well as, you know, maybe for like reduced pay or at the beginning, or were you just all out paying amazing salaries?
No, we certainly weren't. Anyone who comes to work for a startup, no matter how big or small or well-funded you are, or whether it's bootstrapped or not, people generally work for startups because they believe in the mission. And to this day, the reason why people want to work for her, and we get hundreds of job applications probably weekly or every other week, of people that really believe in what we're doing. They think we're a disruptive business model. They want to be part of the future of fashion. So absolutely, I'd say probably the most important factor is, you know, and also from a culture point of view of the team that we want to build. As we start really building out that team, actually, you want people that believe in your vision. And, you know, when there's a global pandemic and rentals suffer or things happen and things go wrong, the people that really show themselves well are the people that believe in the mission. I think if you don't believe in what that company is doing, you should go and work for a big company where you don't have as much responsibility, and you're a bit of a cog in a large workplace. Whereas if you work for a startup, you do everything, and that's just part of believing in it and wanting to be part of that. But that's why I guess it's so exciting in comparison.
Right. Obis, do you have any comments?
Well, for me, like, see, when I started selling vision and mission, how do I have a 9 to 5 and I'm selling a vision to somebody? And the person's like, you're still in 9 to 5 and you're selling your vision to your company to me. Why did you, it doesn't make sense at that point. But then I have to start working on the brand. Okay. So I've gotten to that point where I have worked on the brand, and then the brand is selling itself, and then people want to be part of the brand or be affiliated with the brand. You see where I'm coming from? But in the beginning, with how my brand started, I was just like a regular side hustle. Like, it didn't make sense. It wasn't something like somebody wouldn't even know they could buy stuff from people's wardrobe. They would never have thought in their lives. So it's like I'm changing a narrative. You see where I'm coming from? And then when it looks like a narrative where, oh my God, people are really embracing this thing. This is so cute. I never thought about this part of fashion. You know, we do pop-up shops, live pop-up shops, like live videos as we're doing things are selling out. And people are like, who is buying all these things? Like, you're going, it's like, so it's like, I want to be part of how this thing happens. I've seen the volume where, so now I've worked so hard that when you come for, like, if I list a role, or I now become very particular about who I want to hire, because I have worked so hard for this brand. I can't hire any kind of person for this kind of role. Do you understand? Not because you want to work in my company, because I want to be sure you're the kind of person that can tie into my vision and take me to the next level. It's so I'm more particular. Unlike when I just started, I'm like, I just need somebody to be packing deliveries. You see where I'm coming from? It's different from, I need someone who can tailor my warehouse such that when deliveries have to happen, the person can tell me the efficient way and preventing bottlenecks such that what will take 5 minutes can take 2 minutes. Now I'm looking at efficiency. I'm looking at time to make something happen, compared to before. It was just, it's like that.
Thank you, Obis. Thanks. So there was a comment from Pepper saying people work with startups because they believe in your mission, and I totally agree. I believe in the in the mission of the assembly, and I'm sure a lot of other people. That's why we work where we work. So it was very, very lovely having you ladies here tonight. We are so excited. Love the conversation, and I believe everyone in the audience as well loved listening to you both answer the questions, and you answered amazingly well. So thank you, Victoria. Thank you so much. Thank you, Obis. It was really great speaking with you both today. So I learned a lot, quite a few things actually. I'm sure I said a couple of times in the conversation. And so to all our viewers, thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you for asking wonderful questions that, kept, what would I say, interesting and insightful questions. And we hope you got some learnings that you can marinate on and do some work on, especially the startups on our startups all over and on our incubator. And on that note, I would like to say that you can catch a replay on Instagram. If you have family, friends that you feel would be interested in watching this, please feel free to check our Instagram and at NG British Arts Instagram page as well for the replay. And next week, we have another session with another amazing set of entrepreneurs from the UK and Nigeria as well. So next week, Wednesday at 6:30 p.m., please join us again. And there are so many comments, guys. I hope you can see them, Obis and Victoria. Everyone is appreciative. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Take care. Bye.
Have a good evening.